go ahead and get started. We have quarterback Garrett Greene. Questions for Garrett? Greg?
So Garrett, I mean, practice has started, though you guys are working all summer, but feel different now, and how do you feel going into camp?
Oh yeah, I feel good. We had a really good summer. Especially on the offensive side of the ball. I can't really say about defense. We don't work out together. But offense, we got stronger. We got in better condition. Mike Joseph did a really good job about making us look like contenders. So it's been great to get out there and run around with the boys.
Receivers, obviously some returners. Do you feel comfortable with the new guys yet? How long does that take before you get that time?
Yeah, I think both J-Rob and Jaden Bray, they did a great job, ever since they got here of, finding time to either catch routes, run our plays or, watch tape and just so we can kind of get on the same page. And they've done a great job since they've been here. Now we kind of just get to do it against the defense.
Justin Robinson, what's the difference of having a receiver that shows up months earlier versus someone who signs in June and you're kind of, I would imagine you don't know him as well and don't know his running pattern as well and things like that.
Yeah, I think there's some difference. Obviously, with just comfortability, just because, I had a whole 6 months before J-Rob got here to tow with Jaden Bray. But, J-Rob's such a good kid. He's a great people person, so me and him clicked right away. And, that kind of led the off-season, or the off-field relationship kind of led to on-the-field connection.
You knew him well before, is that what you're saying?
No, like as soon as he got on campus, we kind of hit it off, and, we've been good friends.
Where are you at with the mechanical stuff that you started in the spring and through the summer to now? Walk me through that a little bit. Where are you at with all that?
Yeah, I feel really good. This little break that we had before fall camp started, I was down there with our tight end Cole Taylor. We spent 4 days down there working with him, just getting a final tune-up before bullets got flying for real. I feel really good about my mechanics and where my game's at.
This is in lay terms. Is it about follow-through, your hips? What are some of the things that you work on that you remind yourself of?
We'll just go like feet, like feet alignment. I think that's the simplest way to put it is just, alignment with my feet.
The catch radius that some of your big receivers and tight ends give you, I mean, Robinson's obviously very tall. Cole, what difference does that make for a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be perfect. Mm-hmm. If I was throwing myself out there, the quarterback would have to be pretty damn perfect. But throwing guys like Cole, J-Rob, even Jaden Bray, and then Greg, their catch radius is huge. So you kind of just have to put it on them, and they'll come down with it.
When you went with Manning's, what is that like, and what do you get there that you don't get like here?
I think they do a great job of kind of balancing, being at kids camp, and because that's the whole reason why all these college counselors go down there is to help teach the kids and kind of pass the game forward. But I think they do a great job of also, letting the college guys get some work in, not only with the Mannings but with all the other top guys in the country. So I think it's just great to kind of see how your game stacks up against the nation's best.
Well, you've been there 2 years now, right? What have you taken out of there that sticks with you the most?
Yeah, I think just overall, daily preparation, whether it's for our fall camp practice or, it's for our Tuesday game week practice. I think the preparation and, the kind of the steps before you officially take the field, I think that's something that I'll carry with me.
What's going to be a good season for you? What are some of the things, what are some of the goals you have?
Big 12 champions.
Personal?
Yeah. If I do my job, at a high enough level, we'll get there.
Both you and Coach Brown mentioned looking like a contender, looking like a Power 5 contender in terms of work in the weight room and everything. Has that kind of been an off-season mantra, a goal, and do you see it across the board?
I would say that's necessarily like a goal. Like, we're not trying to look like bodybuilders, but I think just, that's a testament to Mike Joseph and, his whole staff from Vince to Meadows, really to everybody there that they're really good at their job. And, we've had we've had a high amount of buy-in from the guys. Really giving their all to getting their body in the best shape possible, to where in football it's really not as hard.
It's not something where you want to look like a bodybuilder. Is it more recovery, injury prevention, things like that?
I think it's kind of the whole picture, because from working out to the conditioning, to also eating the right, sleeping the right stuff, getting treatment and all that stuff. I think it's kind of a holistic approach. And I think our guys have done well, and they've bought in with that.
Yeah, you talked yesterday about how good the nutrition program is, and kind of how much it's improved. Do you guys as players, do you see stuff like that? I mean, do you recognize when behind the scenes stuff like that is getting better?
Yeah, I think so, and I think I can brag on Haley and Bailey a little bit here. They've really done a great job with me and my development. I came here at like 170 something, and Haley's been here with me for 4 years, and Bailey's been here for 2, and they're great communicators, and they kind of know what you like to eat, and stuff like that, to where you don't have to eat just spinach, and we're not all Popeye, So I think she's done a great job of kind of personalizing all the plans, giving you the tools and stuff, like especially out there at practice today. Like me and Nico are heavy sweaters, and she's making sure that we're getting electrolytes, sodium, all that stuff, to make sure we don't lose a lot of weight. So they've done a phenomenal job since I've been here of getting the nutrition program where it needs to be.
Meal?
Anything my mom cooks.
I meant anything here, your favorite meal.
I thought you were talking about in general. I don't know. I've gotten big into avocado toast. I don't know. It's kind of cliche, but I've gotten big into it.
You mentioned yesterday the job Sophia has done with psycho. Have you have you made use of her services at all? And what does she add?
Yeah, so me and her, we meet once a week. We meet every Tuesday morning, or like kind of after practice, after I shower up and stuff. We meet every Tuesday afternoon, I guess, and kind of just giving me tools to kind of slow the game down, because obviously, when bullets are flying and things can get crazy out there. So I think it's important for you to find a way to kind of center yourself and ground yourself to let your brain process information clearly, and I think she's done a great job of allowing me to do that.
Are you going in there at first time, maybe, or?
Yeah. I think as guys, you never really want to talk about your mental, but as society nowadays, I think it's important that guys get the help they need to.
Neil out in Las Vegas talked about how he thought you were undersold. He thought Jaheim was a little bit undersold. What's your thoughts on all that?
I don't care. Jaheim's one of the most electrifying players in the country, and I'm the guy that we need at quarterback. So I don't really care about opinions other than the people in this building.
Garrett, how is the helmet communication systems going? Like, do you guys feel like you're in a good spot with that?
Yeah, it's been great. It's kind of cool to hear Coach Brown, and I don't have to keep looking to the sidelines and stuff. So that part of it's been good. And I think as fall camp goes on, just like we did with spring, we'll kind of work out some of the kinks to where August 31st we're rocking and rolling.
What's the biggest challenge with that? Is it like being too wordy in a play call? Is it not being able to hear that correctly? What's the biggest challenge with that?
I think there's a good balance between giving enough information and then giving too much information. And I think me and Coach Brown kind of worked through that in the spring, to where these last few days it really hasn't been an issue. Like, I've gotten the calls right, and I've been able to kind of go through all my pre-snap process and things like that.
After the bowl game, Neil said there were times he forgot he could talk to you.
Yeah.
Have you had the opposite, where you forgot he was in your head and all of a sudden he's there?
No. I mean, he makes sure he's heard. But yeah, no. In the bowl game was kind of like a law of the state. Like, he could talk to me like up through the play. So luckily they've gotten that fixed.
So you feel like a senior? I mean, do you think this is my last first day of camp? Is that struck you, or is that something you pay attention to?
I've tried not to think about it. I'm trying to just come to work every day to help this team win a Big 12 championship. So that's kind of been my mindset. I'm sure it'll hit me at some point, like senior day and things like that. But right now, I'm just trying to get to Dallas.
Would you think about quarterback top 10 plays? They're usually quarterback and wide receiver, deep throws or whatever. Talk a little bit about the way you guys have incorporated the tight ends into that, and how important your relationship is with the guys at tight end.
Yeah, I think when you look around just football in general, I think some of the most important pieces on any offense is the tight end. They can really do it all. Especially our tight ends here. We ask them to block, one-on-one on DNs sometimes. We ask them to block in space against nickels. We also ask them to, take shots downfield with them and, be into longer protection, like play action. So I think that they're just like a special athlete, with how big they are, how fast they are, how soft they hands, especially with Cole. Cole's a big frame. He can run, he can catch, and he's also great in the run fits. So I think it's just kind of like a special thing that, like, if you're not using them, properly, you're kind of hindering yourself.
Sort of like you, in a totally different way, they're special athletes. You're a different kind of quarterback than
I wouldn't say I'm built like a tight end, but.
But they're about as athletic though, and do things in their own way.
Yeah. No, I think they're just like a special player, and you look at the best offenses in the NFL with like the Chiefs and the Niners and stuff. Like, they find creative ways to get their tight ends the ball, and I think that's something that we have to continue here.
What you accomplished last year, what would you say where was your biggest area of growth, you think, looking back on it?
Probably just say like being the starting quarterback. Because I think last year I really took like ownership of my preparation and stuff. Because like in 2022 I didn't really know everything that entailed with being the quarterback here. So I think like last year I really took it head on to become a pro and take everything in my life seriously.
Is that part of why this this season is a little different for you, because no quarterback battle from January on?
No, I think it's been an interesting off season, just with kind of the whole offense's maturity, just because we didn't really get a whole bunch of new guys. Like most everybody returned, so it kind of really hasn't been a lot of like the day one stuff per se that we've kind of been able to advance the playbook a little bit. But then it's been great to kind of be with guys like Wyatt, Cole, who they're also huge parts of last year, and they're going to be huge parts of this year.
So a lot of repeating. You're doing things over and over. You're starting to get that. Yeah.
I thought you were saying I was repeating.
No. I was saying you're doing things that it's starting to come together, second nature, right?
Yeah, because I think that's part of confidence is logging reps and having enough reps to where you can't help but do it right. And I think that's something that Coach Brown does a good job of. Whether we like it or not, running like base plays, over and over again, especially in like walkthroughs and stuff. Getting to that point where it's just second nature to do it right.
Now, I think it was a Big 12, but there's been a lot of conversation about your accuracy and improving that number. And coaches said 60 they want you to be at to maybe contend for conference title. You threw out you want to get to 65. I think it was at Vegas. What can you tell us about what you're doing maybe differently to get there? Because I imagine there has to be some tweaks if you're trying to. That's a jump.
Yeah, I think it's not so much like this drastic change where like I'm going out there throwing left-handed or anything. I think that's just small like incremental changes on whether it's my feet or arm angles or touch on the ball, whether it needs a lot more touch or less velocity, and also just making smarter plays. Not trying to throw the 50-yard go ball on the run because it's one-on-one. Maybe just throwing it to the sideline for a 4-yard gain and getting the completion and playing 2nd and 6. So I think there's a lot that goes into it, but it mainly just comes down to playing smarter football and then just small little mechanical changes.
Garrett, when you came here, the dual threat quarterback was just starting to invade college football the way it has, and it didn't look like the pro quarterbacks were all 6'5" and throwing the ball. Was it hard to not have the NFL plum out there, or was it, or has that changed? Are you starting to think, God, I got a chance to play in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like growing up, like you always want to play at the highest level, and growing up, I was in a baseball house, so I thought I was going to be in the MLB, but obviously took a different route than that. But I'm really just focused on this year. Winning a Big 12 title for the state, and then come January, I'll start getting ready for the draft.
Do you see yourself as an NFL quarterback? Brown talked about, you and him had a talk, and he said, you do this, you're an NFL quarterback, you do this, you're an athlete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know I'm good enough to play quarterback in the NFL.
Throwing the back shoulder ball, and if so, is there an art to that?
Yeah, I think it's just like fun to go see these guys like J-Rob and Cole Taylor just kind of like go up and snatch it out of the air. And I think there is less of an art, but more so just like timing and where you need to put it, because it's kind of like a weird throw where you're kind of throwing it like through the DB almost. But we've worked that a ton in the off season, and Hudson Clement's actually gotten really good at them.
So are there certain receivers that you can only do that with, that you establish that chemistry with?
I think probably the top 7 receivers I can do it with, and I feel pretty confident with, because it's pretty much the same throw. It's just different timing.
You made strides. Nico's made strides. What have you seen from Nico that's different than before?
I think just how he handles the game. I think it's easy to kind of get caught up in, I'm a Division I quarterback, especially as a young guy. Like, I'm guilty of it myself. But I think really this last part of last year and this offseason, he's really bought into, taking this as his day job, because at the end of the day, it is. They call it a student athlete, but you're the quarterback first. And I think that he's done a great job of, really just diving into the film room, watching as much tape as he can, learning as much as he can, to where, when it's his show, he's going to be ready.
Garrett, all the read stuff and the RPO things you guys do, just seems like the ball never hits the ground clean all the time. I guess, is that true? Because I only see a little bit of practice.
Yeah.
And then just how do you get to that? Because, I don't know, it's not really, I don't know, can you practice that stuff even apart from just being out with, one player?
Yeah, so every single day before practice, we do center quarterback, running back exchanges. So that's working the mesh point to where I can hand it off to him, I can pull it to run it, I can pull it to throw it. We work that every day, and that's something that Coach Brown really, really emphasizes. And that's part of like the turnovers and stuff like that. Like, he sees like a botched snap or a bad mesh, he sees that as a turnover. So that's really just been like a point of emphasis since I got here is, the quarterback running back mesh. And a lot of it just has to do with timing and spacing with the wideouts, them being on time where they need to be at the right time. And I think today we hit a couple, and they did a great job of being on time and where they're supposed to be.
Is part of it also knowing that, if it's a little bit higher, a little bit wide, that you just can't give that ball because it's not going to work cleanly? Just like maybe you can't make every handoff and you got to eat it sometimes.
Yeah, I think like if it's a bad snap, kind of just run the run play. But Yates has been great this season so far about having good snaps.
Okay, anything else for Garrett?
Thank you, guys.